Grizzle High School in the gymnasium.
Oh, I got you.
So that's when they're going to do the referendum for the question: shall the town of Grizzle appropriate $760,000 for the cost overruns for the completion of the new Grizzle Senior Center up on Taylor Hill?
Which is going to come out of the rainy day fund, correct?
Yes,
That's what it is. It's not a tax increase. It's out of the rainy day fund.
It is.
Yeah.
That is exactly it. It is not going to be, and I think that's one of the things that people are missing, and hopefully we'll clarify for that. For
Right.
the residents, is that it's not going to be any kind of tax increase to do this. This is going to be money that's going to be coming from the general fund.
Which is money the taxpayers actually have put
We've
in.
already paid it.
Put it in over the last couple of years when we went through the other referendums, because those have not come through yet.
The other question that I personally get, like I'm some sort of knowledgeable person supposed to know what's going on downtown hall all the time.
Yeah.
But Jim's breaking the microphones.
Well, you got a spike there that obviously isn't tight.
Maybe you're just really buff and strong, Jim.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
You don't know
really
your
what's
own
going on there. Is that how are we going to pay the money back? That's what I hear a lot of, is how are we going to pay the money back?
Well, I believe there are still some grants out there that are being worked on, and it's my understanding, and I could be wrong, that
You are
if we
correct
get
so
any
far.
of that grant money, that will go back into the general fund.
Yes, sir.
But Scott
That's what
would
I
be-
understand too.
Yeah, Scott would be the one that could answer that definitively, or Eric.
Or maybe Tina could have a question where she is on the
Yeah.
grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would have an answer on the USDA
I think
grant.
the USDA grant is the one they're really hoping
That's the one they're looking
for.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
Everything. So what do you think, Austin?
I have no idea. I don't pay taxes to Grizzle, so I have no idea. You people do what you want with your money.
Ooh, I wish I could be 19 again.
I don't pay taxes.
I don't pay taxes to Grizzle. I pay taxes to Plainfield. Trust me, I pay plenty of taxes. Well,
What happened?
Well, you're
Right,
messing
here
with
goes
the connector there.
Oh,
So
You haven't seen anything yet, young man.
nope, just getting started. But I do pay my taxes. I promise you that. Trust me, the federal government gets theirs, and so
who
does
are
the
you
town.
paying? What are you paying? Sales tax?
No, I had a job before this.
So
Just
you're
COVID laid me off, so
Yeah,
I had
but
to pay
you-
taxes. I had to file taxes.
you get all that money back.
Not all of it.
No, we're talking about like, for example, your mom and dad.
Hmm.
They're paying property tax on your house.
Yeah.
You don't get that crap back.
No.
Well,
no.
did you pay property tax on your car?
Yeah, I had to pay. Yeah,
Well,
I had to pay
there
the
you
town
go.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pay property tax.
I had to pay the town for that.
See,
Yeah.
we're looking for a way to say we're validating Austin today. That's the whole job today. Let's validate Austin.
Let's validate off. Let's give them our stamp of approval.
That's it.
Hey, he may not come back.
No, we can't do that to the poor guy.
No, I'll be here on Wednesday.
Is that a problem?
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
okay.
Can't be here tomorrow. No, going to a Red Sox game.
And they're doing really good. Did they win yesterday? Because they were 10-5. They got the second best record in all of Major League
So
Baseball
I didn't
right
watch
now.
the game yesterday, so I don't know.
But you know what I really think is fun though?
What?
Yankee fans are really quiet right now. But they're only 15 games into the season, for Christ's sakes. I'm not sitting here going, "Oh, the Red Sox are going to go to the World Series." Yankee fans, you win game one. We're going all the way.
How many years have
Yeah.
the Red Sox started off like a bomb and then they fade at the end?
Oh, almost every year. 2004, they did not, though. 2008, they did not, though. They won it all those years.
Well, the vision that I can still see is Bill Buckner at first base. And the
Oh,
ball goes through his legs.
God. Yeah,
The ball goes through his legs.
he's dead.
Yeah, he
I
did
don't-
that.
I
He
don't-
did die.
I don't think he ever got over that.
No, probably what killed him.
The World Series was lost on that.
Well, there was another series, and I can't remember the year. I can remember where I was when I made the prognosis, though, and that was the Red Sox were down 3-1 in one of the. I don't know if it was in the which part of the series it was, and I said, "Watch, they're going to come back and they're going to win 4 in a row, and end up in the World Series."
What was that? That was in 2004. Was it done?
It could be. It could have been.
They were down 3-0.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Was it
saying. They were
19?
down 3-0.
Was it 1910?
No, come on.
You were the only one alive in 1910 in this group.
Well, they've already been in like what 2 World Series since 1900.
And then at the same time I said, and they're going to come back and win the World Series, which they did.
Well, what had happened that year was they lost the first 3 to the Yankees, and then they won 4 in a row, and then they swept the World Series. So then they went on an 8-0 tear
Yeah,
to win it all.
I think that was the Cardinals. They swept the World Series from that year, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. Hate to say that because Kevin Merchant is a huge Cardinals fan.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry about 2004, buddy.
You listening, Kevin?
Here's Austin. Oh, Austin, I just want to let you know that Laura says that good morning. Austin's head is blocking our view of Mike's beautiful face.
Let me scoot over
Thanks,
for you.
Laura.
There we go. Let me scoot over for you.
At least somebody's got something to say.
When I was sitting there, nobody ever said that my head was blocking your beautiful
Look at
face.
the hair.
Well, I can see
Look
that.
at the hair. He's
Well,
a-
look at. Yeah, I
that.
rival him for hair. I just get all of mine pushed back.
That's why he wears a hat.
No.
Be blind.
No, I've worn a
And
hat
sunburned.
since I was a child.
Sunburn too. All right, we're going to break for the news brought to you by the Burns Agency in Dayville and in Norwich. We'll be back to talk more, including I want to school Paul here a little bit on cryptocurrency and well, a missed opportunity.
Okay.
A missed opportunity.
Oh boy.
We'll be back with more chatter, plus the senior center director, Tina Falk. And she might even be bringing, we hope, Joanne and Lisa from the senior center as well, just because they have, it's a different set of eyes, that see what's going on
Different
at the senior.
perspective.
Exactly. And we hope they join us here as well. Beth Ann, good morning. Thanks for joining us here on SNSN. So we're going to break for the news right now. We'll be back in a little. Boy, I'm so excited because
What'd you put in that coffee?
oh, yeah, bourbon.
Okay, that's why you're slurring your words, huh?
But, there's so many people that have so many questions about the Grizzle Senior Center, yet nobody will ask them, or they're asking the wrong people. It's like, folks, I'm not going to ask the Easter Bunny what's for Christmas. Think about it. Be back in a minute with the news right here on SNSN.
The 8:30 a.m. report on SNSN is brought to you by the Burns Agency. With offices in Dayville and Norwich, find out why you'll buy better at Burns.
You buy better. Better with Burns. Much better. So much better with Burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better with Burns. You buy better with Burns. You buy better.
When was the last time you considered the benefits of having all your insurance handled in one place? One number to call, a licensed account manager dedicated to your policies, discounts for having your policies with one company. The list goes on. Did you know the Burns Agency has a team dedicated specifically to home, auto, umbrella, flood, life insurance, business insurance, including workers' comp and professional policies? We do it all. Call, email, chat us online today. Experience the products and service our loyal customers receive and appreciate. The Burns Agency, proudly serving Eastern Connecticut since 1932.
Better. Better with Burns. Much better. So much better with Burns. Right insurance at the right price. You buy better with Burns. You buy better with Burns. You buy better.
Here's Here's a look at your local news headlines on SNSN. Over the weekend, members of the Plainfield Police Department, with the assistance of the Putnam Police Department, conducted a search and seizure warrant at the residence of 3A Walnut Street in Putnam. The search warrant stems from an ongoing child pornography and human trafficking investigation being conducted by the Plainfield Police. The investigation started in January when a 14-year-old juvenile reported being threatened by a resident of that address on Walnut Street. Upon investigation, it was discovered that the threats were based on the juvenile failing to provide inappropriate images that were being sold for money. Upon execution of the search and seizure warrant, the police encountered an uncooperative male resident who was identified as 18-year-old Jaden Williams. Williams was placed under arrest by Putnam Police and charged with interfering with an officer. Upon officers securing the residence and conducting a search, several electronic devices were seized in relation to the Plainfield Police investigation. The incident will remain under investigation by Plainfield Police in conjunction with Putnam Police. Charges related to this investigation are pending. Connecticut Department of Labor Commissioner Kurt Westby announced that the agency will begin enrollment for the new federal mixed earner unemployment compensation program, which will start tomorrow. The program, established under the CARES Act 2, provides an additional $100 per week for eligible filers with self-employment earnings and W-2 income. Some of the qualifications are filers with eligible underlying claims will receive an additional $100 per week under the program, which will expire on September 4th. Payments are retroactive to the week beginning January 2nd if filers are eligible. And eligibility requirements include at least $5,000 in self-employment net earnings in the most recent completed taxable year. Couple of notes about Grizzle Town Hall this week. The town clerk's office will be closed for training April 20th through the 22nd. If you need assistance, just leave a message and they will get back to you just as soon as possible. Grizzle has set the referendum date for the senior center cost overruns, and that will be on May 5th from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. All districts will vote at Grizzle High School in the gymnasium. The question is, shall the town of Grizzle appropriate an additional $760,000 from the unassigned fund balance for the construction of the Grizzle Senior Center? Once again, the vote starts on May 5th at 6 a.m. at Grizzle High School. Also, please note, in observance of Administrative Professionals Day, Town Hall will be closed altogether Wednesday, April 21st, between 12 and 1 for an extended lunch period.
The 8:30 a.m. report has been brought to you by the Burns Agency, with offices in Dayville and Norwich. Find out why you'll buy better at Burns.
Okay, let's take a look at the forecast right now for Eastern Connecticut. Here he is, Paul Ash.
Good morning, everybody. And right now, the temperature downtown Jude City is 48 degrees. Clouds and some sun this morning, but more clouds further this afternoon. Slight chance of a rain shower possible. Highs around 65 degrees. For tonight, partly cloudy skies, lows around 40. And if we get Tuesday, well, it's going to be, except for a few clouds, it's going to be mainly sunny. Highs around 69, man. That's getting up there. So the warm temperatures are coming. And of course, for Tuesday night, partly cloudy, lows around 48. And that's your weather from SNSN on this Monday, 04/19/2021.
Don't get better than SNSN Radio. SNSN Radio.
Yesterday's best rocks today.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's lack of better word.
Long live rock.
Yeah, we're kind of gotten a little bit yesterday.
What? The mayflies. They're here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, those are little tiny things that look like gnats.
I thought they were gnats.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I call them mayflies. Man, they're killers.
All right. So wait, of course, the big news is, the referendum date has been set, for the Grizzle Senior Center. That's one thing. But, here's something that's happening at Town Hall tonight that isn't really being talked about.
Yeah.
is the reemergence of the Grizzle Public Health and Safety Committee
Right.
or Commission, or what's the difference between a committee and a commission?
I'm not sure. I don't know whether we call
I'm not sure either, but I think that commission actually has more power, but possibly. I don't know.
Okay.
Just my speculation.
So tonight, people can show up at town hall, right?
Yeah.
And they can be whatever, possibly.
Yeah. 6:30.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they can be elected they're going to elect new officers.
New officers. Yes. And it's also, you got to wear a mask when you go in.
And there's social distancing also.
Yeah, the social distancing within it's in the main room. It's in the big room as you walk in now. Matter of fact, I think all meetings are pretty much going to be opened up now. Yeah.
Well, like I said, I've been holding the capital improvement committee meetings there all season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess
we don't get much public attention.
No.
So what positions are going to be elected? I mean, chairman or chairwoman?
Paul's going to be elected chairman.
I believe that.
And vice chairman will be Jim.
No, he will not.
I have every reason to want to show up at that meeting tonight.
Yeah, I guess. And then the secretary.
Yeah. Well,
but again, we lost one already. We heard, so I don't know how many.
Who did you supposedly lose? Would it be Sue Gunderman?
No, it's Andrea Damien.
Dameron.
Okay.
Yeah, she left. So we don't know. We've been not meeting for so long. We don't even know how many people are still involved.
Did my constant nagging move this along at all?
No, no. It was the opening of the town hall, and the note that we got was that they were given the okay to start the whole meetings from the selectman's office.
Okay.
So that's how it started.
So if you want to be on the Public Health and Safety Committee,
by all means,
then go to the town hall tonight. Meeting starts at 6:30. They're electing new officers.
Yeah.
Would be kind of cool if somebody from the fire department was on that committee.
Yeah.
Like a Rich Wasilek.
Anybody.
Hey, Rich, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Rich?
Yeah.
It'd be nice if it'd be good if Rich Wasilek showed up and said, "I want to be part of the Public Health and Safety Committee."
Fine, we need people.
He's a part of the he's a ranking member of the Jewett City Fire Department, so he would be
Sure.
I would think would be a great choice.
Absolutely.
He's also running for Borough Burgess.
Oh man, he could be all kinds of things in town.
Look out!
Yeah.
I saw him getting gas yesterday. I said, "Who the hell's Rich?" I looked at him and he goes, "Hey, did you know?" I said, "Who the hell's Rich Wasilek? Nobody's heard of you." I guess he was suggested to go door knocking.
Really?
Yeah, for his Burgess.
Really?
Yeah, the possibility of winning a Burgess position.
Wow. Well,
I think if you want to win, I think you do have to do that.
Yeah. During COVID, that is. I'll tell you right now, if that's a thing, I'm going to be pissed off. And I'll tell you why. Because during Halloween, we tried to do something and just had people walk up and down town dressed up as vampires. And we can go door knocking during COVID, for political gain, but we can't have fun at Halloween. Come on now.
Well,
things are much better now. No,
if he starts going door walking, there'll be a lot of people.
Door walking or door knocking?
Door knocking, whatever. It'd be people like Grizzle now complaining to somebody in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh God, that'll mean another ordinance suggested to the ordinance committee.
Oh, unfortunately,
people can't walk up to somebody's door and knock on it anymore.
Unfortunately, that happens.
Yeah. Next thing you know, the post office can't come to your house.
Well, no, shut your mouth, Jim.
Come on, Jim. Come on. Jim's got something to say. Nope.
I've said it already many times, Mike.
Gotcha. So for the folks that are in our Facebook room right now, and Facebook /Twitch/YouTube page, do you folks think that the referendum will pass to go ahead and get the $760,000 that they need, knowing the fact that it's not going to raise your taxes.
Well,
It's money that you've already paid.
I'm hoping that that message gets out there so people are aware of it. I think the one thing that people are concerned about is their taxes going up,
Mm-hmm.
and so.
And we also hope that you stay in the room, see, because here's the thing that gets me all the time, and I just shake my head back and forth, left and right, is I see numerous residents have a bunch of questions, they have concerns. Fine. But ask the people that can answer the question. Sure. That's really what needs to happen. And now that you get the opportunity to do, because they're not showing up at a town meeting,
right?
you know that's not going to happen.
No.
So now they can do it completely autonomously, and just go ahead and type it in or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
You can create an account on Facebook. Your name could be Joe Schmo.
Yeah.
And then what happens? As long as you ask a question.
Or you could call in.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you got to be.
But that won't happen.
Well, you never know.
I would love to see it happen. Yeah. But I would also love to see residents also taking part instead of going to Grizzle down and just bitching about shit.
Yeah. That's the biggest
problem. That's what happens.
That's the biggest problem.
Do people really think, do residents really think that going into Grizzle down complaining is going to change anything? No. It's not.
Well, look back to when we were doing the Bonnie and Burdick show with Paul Lash for 3 years or whatever it was. How many phone calls did we get?
None.
We got, I think over the whole period of time, if we got 10 phone calls, we were probably lucky.
Right.
Now, maybe that says something about the show. Maybe nobody had any interest in the show.
No, it's not just that, Jim. It's the engagement. I mean, even just look at the voter turnout. For Grizzle has one of the lowest in the state as far as voter turnout.
Really?
Yes, as far as percentages go. It's a little higher during a presidential election, but just town elections, town and state, Grizzle has some of the lowest in the state as far as voter turnout. Yeah. Why is that? Because there's no engagement. You can't make people do what they don't want to do, but you can't complain if you're not going to go ahead and at least either vote or voice your opinion, because nothing will change. Yeah. But you have to voice your opinion to the right people. Now, look, I'm not sitting here on my soapbox and saying, look, you need to do this, get out of Grizzle now, get out of Grizzle Discuss or any of these groups. Grizzle now has a function in this town. There's a lot of good things that are in that group, but there are some things that doesn't really make a lot of sense in a lot of groups. And it's not just, I pick on Grizzle now, but it's not just Grizzle now.
Well, you know what it is? It's the person who knows a little about what's going on and then tries to make people believe that they know everything that's going on, and they're miscommunicating actually what the real facts are. And that's the part that kind of ticks you off, and then everybody gets on board with it and they go against something that may be positive or, maybe it's negative, but that's what happens. And that's what kind of ticks you off. And if you express your opinion, they'll be all over you. So the best thing to do is you really can't say anything.
Exactly. And I don't. Well, it's because people are fearful of it, because people, they almost get like online bully.
Yeah, it is.
That kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Like me, I don't claim to know anything about anything. Yeah. I mean, our job is to. I said it a million times. We've talked about it, Paul, is to facilitate a conversation.
Correct.
For people that do know what's going on. This is why we're bringing in Tina Falk this morning.
Exactly.
In the Grizzle Senior Center. So that way they can answer the questions. They are the ones that are in the positions to answer the questions that you might have.
Yeah, you're just creating the venue.
That's it. That's all we're doing.
But people don't want to take. Some people just don't want to take the initiative.
No,
because it's easier just to grandstand and be like, this and that, and then when it comes time to talk to the powers that be about the problems that be, it's
It's like I don't want to raise my hand in class.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think it's like Austin is saying, and you said, Mike, they don't want to. They don't want to put themselves out there and then be bullied just for expressing an opinion.
Right.
I mean, everybody is entitled to their opinion. They're
Right.
not entitled to their own facts.
Right.
Now, I try to even circumvent that by saying, okay, look, now we have a text service. Sign up for the text service. It's free, folks. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a dime. And also, what it does is allows you to go ahead and facilitate conversation without being known who you are.
Right.
Well, for 2 weeks, I pushed this text number. It's like 9 people signed up. 9. So it's kind of like, there's a lot of folks that feel like they're concerned, and that's fine.
It's the apathy, Mike.
It's right.
It's the apathy.
And you can't say that. If I sit here and say this all the time, well, then Minarski's a jerk.
And I mean the excuse, well, I'm too busy. I don't buy that. You're not too busy to do things that you feel comfortable about doing or you want to do. Okay.
There are many things you can do. And we have made Jim, I can't even tell you how many ways that we have created, and multiple towns as well, to disseminate information to residents of their respective towns. Whether it's texting, whether it's, hey, sign up, for the app, we'll push your notifications out on news. We're not selling them anything, but they don't sign up for that either. And it's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. So now what it really comes down to is, are you really interested or are you not? If you're not interested in finding, I'm sick and tired of seeing, well, someone saying there's no information out there. What a bunch of shit. That is not true. That's apathy. And I hate to say it, but it really is true. And
there's mountains of information out there, and most people are getting it from the Main Street news media, and half of that is propaganda with an agenda.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we have the senior center director coming in a minute.
Oh boy.
Yep.
I think I see Tina and Lisa walking up.
Okay, very good. So we're going to take a quick break. The senior center director and the assistant director, Lisa, will be in just a minute to answer your questions. We'll have a whole hour for that right here on SNSN.
How are we going to do?
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
We are the future. Grizzle Parks and Rec is a parent's one-stop source for all things fun. Town events, sports, fitness, and enrichment for all ages. We love our regiment. Let us prove it. Go to grizzlerec.org. I'm going to tell you a story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Once upon a time, my neighbor took some stuff called heroin, or maybe something else called fentanyl, but it killed her. The end. She was the best neighbor you could ever have. I can only imagine how her 12-year-old daughter feels. This is a story that is told more and more every single day. People that are addicted to opioids are just like you and I. It's your neighbor, it's your uncle, or even your mother. Good people that have gotten sick and they are dying. This story can change. Prescription drug abuse is a serious public health issue that can be faced effectively with the right resources and education. Don't let opioids have the last word. I can change the script. You can change the script. We can change the script.
For additional resources, go to www.drugfreeconnecticut.org. This message brought to you by Griswold Pride, Putnam Pride, and United Service.
You buy better. Better with Burns. Much better. So much better with Burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better with Burns. You buy better with Burns.
When was the last time time you considered the benefits of having all your insurance handled in one place? One number to call, a licensed account manager dedicated to your policies, discounts for having your policies with one company. The list goes on. Did you know the Burns Agency has a team dedicated specifically to home, auto, umbrella, flood, life insurance, business insurance, including workers' comp and professional policies? We do it all. Call, email, chat us online today. Experience the products and service our loyal customers receive and appreciate. The Burns Agency, proudly serving Eastern Connecticut since 1932.
Much better. So much better with Burns. Buy insurance at the right price. You buy better with Burns. You buy better with Burns. You buy better.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
We are the future. Grizzle Parks and Rec is a parent's one-stop source for all things fun. Town events, sports, fitness, and enrichment for all ages. We love our residents. Let us prove it. Go to grizzlerec.org.
As a business, your customers are your first priority. At Jewett City Savings Bank, their first priority is helping businesses like yours to succeed. Here's what John Felice of Boundaries in Griswold had to say about doing business with Jewett City Savings Bank.
When I contacted the bank initially for a loan program, I explained to them that I needed something done in a timely manner. And from start to finish, the commercial lending team put it together and we were closed within 2 weeks. Several years ago, I needed a commercial line of credit to manage weekly business expenses in terms of payroll and things like that. They were very quick to set that up for us. They also refinanced a buyout from a former business partner and everything was smooth. Being a small business in southeastern Connecticut, there are many local banks that we have to choose from. Jewett City Savings Bank has been a choice for me that I've been happy with for many years, and I will continue to do business with them for many years to come.
To learn more about how the commercial lending team at Jewett City Savings Bank can assist you, call 860-376-4444 or go to jcsbank.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The flagship for Griswold High School sports and your home for local news and weather.
Broadcasting from Main Street, the borough of Jewett City.
The Streaming News and Sports Network, SNSN.
The 9 a.m. report on the Streaming News and Sports Network is being brought to you by Charlene's Diner, 37 Main Street, Jewett City. Family owned for almost 40 years. Order what you want, eat what you get. That's Charlene's Diner.
I love working here because of the people, and I get to work with my family every day.
Come to Charlene's Diner for the best breakfast you've ever had.
That was Brittany and Matt from Charlene's Diner on Main Street in Jewett City. There are only a few things that have been able to stand the test of time in Jewett City, and one of them just happens to be Charlene's Diner, who just celebrated their 40th anniversary in business. How do you stay in business that long in a small town like Jewett City? It's a simple recipe, really great food and friendly service, and of course, family. You'll feel like family too because you'll always be greeted with a smile that makes you feel like you're right at home. Stop by for breakfast or lunch 7 days a week. If you don't have any time, well, that's no problem. Order ahead and your food will be waiting for you when you walk into Charlene's door. You can find Charlene's Diner on Facebook too. Stop in and join the family for breakfast or lunch today.
I'm Charlene. Come to Charlene's Diner and order what you want and eat what you get.
Here's a look at your local news headlines on SNSN. Over the weekend, members of the Plainfield Police Department, with the assistance of the Putnam Police Department, conducted a search and seizure warrant of the residents of 3A Walnut Street in Putnam. The search warrant stems from an ongoing child pornography and human trafficking investigation being conducted by the Plainfield Police. The investigation started in January when a 14-year-old juvenile reported being threatened by a resident of that address on Walnut Street. Upon investigation, it was discovered that the threats were based on the juvenile failing to provide inappropriate images that were being sold for money. Upon execution of the search and seizure warrant, the police encountered an uncooperative male resident who was identified as 18-year-old Jaden Williams. Williams was placed under arrest by Putnam police and charged with interfering with an officer. Upon officers securing the residence and conducting a search, several electronic devices were seized in relation to the Plainfield police investigation. The incident will remain under investigation by Plainfield police in conjunction with Putnam police. Charges related to this investigation are pending. Connecticut Department of Labor Commissioner Kurt Westby announced that the agency will begin enrollment for the new federal mixed earner unemployment compensation program, which will start tomorrow. The program, established under the CARES Act 2, provides an additional $100 per week for eligible filers with self-employment earnings and W-2 income. Some of the qualifications are filers with eligible underlying claims will receive an additional $100 per week under the program, which will expire on September 4th. Payments are retroactive to the week beginning January 2nd if filers are eligible. And eligibility requirements include at least $5,000 in self-employment net earnings in the most recent completed taxable year. Couple of notes about Grizzle Town Hall this week. The town clerk's office will be closed for training April 20th through the 22nd. If you need assistance, just leave a message and they will get back to you just as soon as possible. Grizzle has set the referendum date for the senior center cost overruns, and that will be on May 5th from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. All districts will vote at Griswold High School in the gymnasium. The question is, shall the town of Griswold appropriate an additional $760,000 from the unassigned fund balance for the construction of the Griswold Senior Center? Once again, the vote starts on May 5th. At 6 a.m. at Griswold High School. Also, please note, in observance of Administrative Professionals Day, Town Hall will be closed altogether Wednesday, April 21st, between 12 and 1 for an extended lunch period.
The 9 a.m. report on SNSN has been brought to you by Charlene's Diner, 37 Main Street, Jewett City. Family owned for almost 40 years. Order what you want. Eat what you get. That's Charlene's Diner.
All right, let's take a look at the forecast right now for Eastern Connecticut. Here he is, Paul Ash.
Good morning, everybody. Right now, the temperature downtown Jewett City is 50 degrees. Clouds and some sun around this morning, but more clouds this afternoon. Chance of rain shower possible, highs around 65 degrees. For tonight, cloudy skies, lows around 41. For your Tuesdays, mostly sunny skies, highs around 69 degrees. And for Tuesday night, a few clouds from time to time, lows around 48. And that's your weather from SNSN on this Monday, 04/19/2021.
All right. Thank you very much, Paul. And we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it this morning. I know people are filing in, and we have lots of questions. First, let me introduce our guests here this morning. We have Tina Falk. She's the director of the Griswold Senior Center, as well as the assistant, right, of the Griswold Senior Center director, Lisa Wayne Martell. Oh, that's on Facebook. Oh, which one are you, Lisa or Wayne? Never mind. Sorry. Obviously, you're Wayne. So we're gonna get right into it. Right into questions. Oh, first, hi. How are you?
I'm good. How's everybody?
Good. Pretty good, I guess.
Good.
Good. All right. So here we go. This first one comes from Hillary.
Clinton?
Stop it. The approved budget is $7.6 million. What was your understanding on the use of grants? Should they be used in addition to the 7.6, or should they be included in the 7.6 million and reduce the debt load?
Any grants that come in from here on in? Is that what she's
Yeah, talk
referring
right
to?
into the. Here we go. Don't do that.
How'd that feel?
Ouch.
Well, I think at this point, any grant money that comes in, there's going to have to be discussion. And I mean, I'm certainly not going to commit to anything right now because I'm not the final answer. But right now, the project has not been overspent. It is in a pause. I think that there was some assumption out there that we have just completely gone over budget. We have not. So we have to wait and see. We have several possibilities out there. One very strong possibility. And I think once we receive confirmation on that, then there has to be discussion among all parties to see how those funds will be utilized.
Now, are we talking about the strong possibility being the USDA grant? Is that what we're talking to?
USDA is pretty positive, and we continue to have discussions on that and submit. It's quite a process. It's documentation, submission after submission after submission.
Yeah, this is not writing an email and saying, hopefully we'll get cash.
Oh no.
Okay.
No. This is an extensive project.
Lisa, do you have any comments on that or as well?
No,
No. Okay. All right.
not yet.
All right. I'm sure you will.
What was there a change in the way the grants were being processed during this whole application? Namely, did they change the style and it has to all be submitted electronically now?
Yes, everything is electronic right now, but you have to understand, we started this process back in 2017 when the first urban grant was signed and submitted. And since then, there have been, I think that there was some insinuation that we hadn't done enough in terms of seeking funds, but I will tell you, I know that I sat in Congressman Courtney's office throughout this process on more than one occasion. I know that I sat at the commissioner's office up in Hartford throughout this process. I know that additional agencies were sought after for potential funding. There was a lot going on.
And this all contributed to delays in actually getting answers to whether
the delays
Yeah.
really.
That's what I was driving at.
Well, the delays, I will tell you, you have to remember, and everybody kind of, chuckles out the side of their mouth. Oh, yeah, the pandemic. The government shut down.
Yeah.
Nothing moved.
Yeah.
And that had a huge impact on any movement of grants. And grants don't just happen in 6 months. Sometimes they can take several years. And I would hope that people could understand that. So we continue to work diligently on it. I know there are certainly we have more than one person who's looking in different areas. Up in Hartford, they're talking about it. So we continue to work on it.
You're a taxpayer in Grizzle, are you not?
Am I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to see your taxes go up?
I will say this. Nobody wants to see their taxes go up.
Of course not.
But and I think the president of the senior center sent it, and she's lived here her whole life.
You explained it to me
Yeah, I did.
in a very good way.
It was an analogy, but I will
Yeah.
say this: we pay on multiple properties in the town of Griswold. Okay, it's not my best thing to see taxes go up, but I will say this: if you want something, if services are required, if services are needed, if you want to improve your community, I think it's pretty unreasonable to think that, well, I want, but we're not going to pay a price. If you want decent services, there's going to be a price to pay. And you can talk about the senior center services later in the show. I would hope that next week I would like to have, not me, not my staff,
Seniors.
I want to have some seniors come in here, and I want them to talk to the community and to you folks. I'd like their point of view. I think it's important that people hear what they have to say, because Lisa and I and Joanne, we hear it every day, and they count. So the analogy that I use is this. I started to think, if I took 10 seniors and I could immediately identify 10 seniors, you're probably talking 100 seniors that this would apply to, but let's just take 10 for a beginning number. And I asked at least 5 of them, how long have you lived in town? 66 years, 50 years, 40 years. How long have you owned property in town? How long have you paid property taxes on homes? 66 years, 50 years. If you took those 10 people, let's average out $2,000 a year. Let's just use that as a toss out average. Do the math. They've paid taxes on their property for all of these years. Do the math. They've paid their dues, they've paid their prices, and it's certainly more than the $760,000 that they're asking for to complete the senior center.
And I'm sure a lot of them still own property. They're
Oh,
paying
they
tax.
still, yeah. The ones that I asked are still living in their homes.
All right, Nick.
Like you, Lisa, we own multiple properties. I mean, Cena, we own multiple properties. We
Mhm.
pay a tremendous amount of taxes here.
Mhm.
Much of it goes to the school. I've never availed myself of any of the school use. We had no children down here going to school, but I still support the school system because I think education
Absolutely.
is an important factor,
Yep.
as are our seniors.
Well, it's like, do you support the senior center? Do you support the school system, or do you support the town? All right, here's another one.
Okay.
Apparently, now I'm just reading them as they are written.
No, that. Please do.
Apparently, there was a grant received for $384,000 in 2012 that was applied to this project. This grant is being cited as the reason the new building cannot be used by the community. I see you have your paperwork.
Oh, yes, I do.
How was the money spent? And from the limited amount of information we have, it does not look like it is included in the reports of the overall cost of the project. Was this money spent on the project? Is the cost of the project actually an additional $384,000 over what it is currently being voted on? 7.6 million plus 384.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Yeah. In other words, what's up with that money?
Thanks for clarifying that, Mike. Here you go. Here's your copy. Michael, here's your copy. I pulled this out because
I knew you were doing this.
Yeah. So when we first started talking about the need for more space for the senior center, we had a senior prom at the senior center. And at the time, this was back in 2011, 2012, then State Rep Steve Micatel and then State Senator Andrew Maynard came to the senior prom. And they were spilling out onto the sidewalk. And the way the story's told is Steve Micatel and Andrew Maynard had a conversation out in the parking lot for the need for more space. So they went to the state. Now, this is the letter from the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, who provided the funding of, and I'll correct that amount, $343,500. And if you go down, I've highlighted it for you. Description of the project. The contractor shall utilize the funds in the amount of $343,500 for design and construction of a new senior center. And I think that states it very clearly.
What's the date on that?
And the date on this was in 2012.
Got it.
2012. You can keep that. So can I just throw out some other things?
No.
I know. No, no, just a couple more things.
Sure, go for it.
I don't know.
I think as thorough as you want to be is what is needed.
Yeah.
So.
No, I just want to throw a couple of other projects that are going on out there right now, because I think it says a lot to, we're not unique. This project is not unique. Wyndham, they are currently, and I remember 3 or 4 years ago talking to the director of their rec department who said, oh my gosh, we're having a heck of a time getting this through, but they did finally vote in favor of it. Now, Wyndham, I know there's great concern because this isn't designed with a community center. Well, there's your language right there, construction of a new senior center, okay?
We talked about this.
There's the verification. But I want you to think about senior center / community center, okay? You're looking at a massive piece of property, okay? And let me give you an example. Wyndham, they are, and it's beautiful, I looked it up, a 30,000 square foot building, which is twice of what's up there now on Taylor Hill. 15,000 square feet for the senior center, 18,000 square feet for the community center. It does have a pool. The state gave them back in 2013 $1.5 million, and that's all they've gotten. And the vote was for the town to pay, or the town's responsibility, $14.6 million. Okay. That's twice the amount of what we had originally started with. Now you have to look. They've gone back to their Board of Finance twice so far for additional funding. They too had glitches. It's not unique. It's not unusual. Stop and think of what a building of this size is going to cost the town. Staffing, liability, lifeguards, every aspect of that building. It's not going to be an easy. And right now, Colchester Senior Center is in very.
I read there was one that was upwards of 35 million.
Oh yeah, if you start
And-
getting down around
yeah.
Groton and that, yeah. I mean, they've got state of the art exercise rooms. They've got stores. They've got a salon. I mean, it's remarkable and it's beautiful. Colchester Senior Center right now is currently in their initial discussions for a 14,650 square foot building, which is probably just a hair under ours. And right now, their initial talk of cost is $9 million.
There you go.
All right. And okay. So keep asking questions.
Moving on, question boy. What is the number one reason for the cost overruns for the new senior center?
Well, it certainly wasn't because, I've heard the word Taj Mahal thrown around. I think that the seniors deserve nice. As time went on, this has been a long, long project. And if you recall, and you may not know this, in the beginning, the Grizzle Housing Authority was in the they were very, very, very close to having their project approved for additional elderly housing. All right. So when the property was turned over to the town, okay, the agreement between the housing authority and the town was whoever put the shovel in the ground first would be responsible for the $500,000 for the infrastructure, the gas, the water, the electric, all of that. And housing funding did not come through. They were very, very close. It didn't. And we moved along a little bit quicker. First shovel in the ground. So we absorbed that $500,000. We had to have that in place before we could move forward with the project. I know nobody wants to hear about the pandemic, but when the pandemic did hit, there were a couple of trades who were hit with COVID. So we had to go out, find those new trades. You could not have multiple trades working in the building at the same time because of COVID. So that pushed it out some weeks. Okay, so now you've got an additional expense. Transportation costs were going up. It was hard to find transportation. Material that was coming in was not quite up to par. It really impacted a lot. Okay, so pushing the project out by several weeks, transportation costs, material costs, they've gone up dramatically. So we tried to lock in as much as we could. We tried to cut as much as we could, but it's not unusual in the industry. And I beg to differ with anybody who said that the pandemic would have no impact. And I'm not saying that was all of it, but it sure didn't help things at all.
Lisa, you've been with the senior center how long?
Over 5 years, almost 6.
Okay. And your responsibilities at the senior center have exponentially increased
Yes,
since
tremendously.
since the day you started.
She almost choked on that one.
Yeah. So, in your words, what is a new senior center going to mean to the seniors of this town? Keeping in mind that, and I'm not throwing a softball, you know, or anything like that. Keeping in mind that the fact that the senior population in this town is the largest and the fastest growing demographic in Griswold. Is it
I think
57 plus? I think was
Yeah,
the
it's not just for the town of Griswold. I mean, this is the projection from, census numbers.
right.
57% increase in the age 65 and over between up until from now till 2040. It's a lot.
I'm a baby boomer.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. How important is a new senior center to the town of Griswold in your estimation, being that you have come in and 5 years later you're in the position that you are now?
Well, I look at it, my opinion. So sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
To me, the senior center is an investment in the community because we do so much, not just for the seniors, but I'll start with them. The food,
Yep.
the socialization, have them coming in and just socializing, the Medicare questions. We have a lot of Medicare questions. People don't know a lot about, Medicare. They retire and they're like, what do I do now? So they come to us for that. So we help with that. Exercising, keeping them healthy and active, because I believe that's longevity of life.
Nutrition.
Yeah, nutrition. That's when I said food. So the stuff that comes out of the senior center that we have is tremendous. And by going to a bigger senior center, we can offer more for them. We have a medical room in there, so we'll be able to offer a lot more medical hearing. We have podiatrists now that comes in for people.
Foot care. Yeah.
Foot care, yep. So there's a lot more we can expand for the seniors. But now as for the community, it's also an investment in the community because we also do a lot of community outreach. We do energy assistance there. This year we only did it for the seniors. We did do a few emergency cases.
But energy assistance generally is not just for the seniors. It's a community program.
Yes, we do. Before we did everybody. But this year we just
I think that's
narrowed it
forgotten.
down.
I think that's forgotten, or maybe not even seen, is that the energy, the EAP, is for everybody in the community, and not just the seniors. And this is all distributed through the senior center. Jim, I know you had a comment.
Yeah, I mean, not only are they doing all the senior stuff, but as you just started to allude to, they're the municipal agent for the town, which serves anybody in the town that's in need of services.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I mean, I've sat in Tina's office to have a discussion with her, and in 30 minutes, we've probably been interrupted 10 times with her dealing with municipal agent type things and senior things.
Yeah,
I mean,
anytime there's a
it's
fire.
not, they call it a senior center, but it's serving the entire
I'm
population.
Aware. I am aware of that personally. Did you want to add to it?
So I just want to say, it's not just the senior center. People say, oh, it should be a community center, but we do a lot of stuff for the community, all the social services, people have to be relocated, shut off from the electric company. Jewett City Electric Company is a private electric company, so they can shut people off. Eversource has not shut anybody off during COVID. Jewett City Electric Company, we love you guys. We work
We
very
do
well
love
with
them. Yeah.
But they are a private company and they have shut people off during COVID, and they come to us and we work with them to get their power turned back on.
This year alone, we have given over $7,000 from the emergency fuel fund to keep people's utilities on so that they would have heat. And I will tell you that every single one of them were young families.
Yeah. So again, it's not seniors, you're helping young
It's
families.
exactly. Exactly.
Oh, let's see. Hi, you're on the line with the SNSN. Who's this?
Nobody.
Nobody. Just like Grizzle now.
And also, I just want to say that during COVID, school lunches, there are families in the borough that don't have a vehicle. They couldn't get to the school to get lunches for their kids. So we stepped up and we offered, and we have done over almost 4,500 school lunches since the pandemic started. That
people are picking up at the senior center.
No,
Or
we
no,
deliver.
Oh, you deliver.
We deliver to
there you go.
families that are unable to get to the school. So we do that. We work with St. Mary's on food distribution for families that need food. They call us. We go.
The Farm to
we'll
Families
deliver.
program is all you
Farm to
guys.
Families. We have another one tomorrow.
Tomorrow, 10:30.
I think it's our
10:30,
10th
12:30.
one. And we have on the average 500 boxes that we distribute with each one. So you're talking over 5,000 boxes of food.
Yeah, and not only that, that much of the families that are coming up for that is again young families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have to put this in there. It's not just Lisa, Joanne, and I that want to do this community outreach. This is the consensus of our senior membership. This is what they have chosen to do. They've chosen to, they are the backbone of all of the outreach that we do. They want these types of things for their community. So it's not just us, it's your seniors
So
also.
you're merely advocates.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's missed. I think that simple point right there.
Sometimes it is. Sure.
Okay, here's a personal question, and this comes from here we go. By the way, if anybody has any questions that they want to go ahead and pop in the chat group, go ahead and we will ask them.
Sure. I'll answer them too.
You ready?
I'm ready.
These cost overruns and issues that we're having, how much does that have to do with the first selectman being married to the senior center director? Go.
The cat's out of the bag.
What?
Oh my gosh. Listen, I've been married.
You and
Listen,
Todd?
yeah. Hey, listen. And you know what? I tried to keep my last name Falk just so that we wouldn't be connected. Good Lord Almighty.
Just because Todd had an ad on farmersonly.com, it
All
doesn't
right.
matter, right?
So yes, I am married to the first selectman of the town of Griswold, Todd Babbitt. We've been married for 9 years. This is not new. This is no secret. And just as a little side point, we are not the only married couple who serves on committees and boards. I will tell you this, and I am very, very strong on this. There was
That's why I asked.
There was some babble out there on. I do not do social media. I could not even tell you how to get on Griswold now. Some of the things are reported back to me. I have to chuckle, and I do chuckle when I hear most of this stuff. That Todd Babbitt was still the chair of the building committee. Todd Babbitt stepped down as the chair of the building committee when he took office on Main Street. We now have a building chair in place, Rob Perrette, who has more knowledge than, an amazing, amazing man. He does government contracting. He knows what he's talking about. So we are very, very happy to have him. But how much does Todd Babbitt and this overrun keep him out of it? Because the board of selectmen signed the contract. That's been the end of it. It is now in the hands of the building committee, and that's kind of where I'd like to keep it. I've got my job. I don't want him interfering in my job, nor do I want anything to do with his job. So I think that we can kind of put that to rest.
A comment on Rob Perrette. Rob is running the senior center project, and that's a $7 million project. This man is involved in his career in $100 million projects.
Yes, he is.
I mean, this $7 million project to Rob. I mean, he's devoted a tremendous amount of time to it, but he's running $100 million projects. He knows how to run these projects, and he's done a lot to cut costs.
Yeah. He works very well with the construction company.
Yeah, he gets it.
All right, here we go. Here's another one.
Sure.
The Board of Finance was made aware of the overage by the bank. This is the question.
What bank?
The building, the building committee had to have known about this for months. Why was it not reported?
You know, somebody said something about a bank. There is no bank involved in this. So I'm not sure where the word bank came from. And point of fact, we have not spent a penny more than what was appropriated, what was approved. The project is in pause because going forward, there are some things we need to wrap up, but that's why we're looking for the $760,000 to wrap those things up to get a CO. But Lisa, you're giggling too, because I don't know where bank came from. This is a bonded project. No bank, no bank. And this is the problem with
social media.
Yeah, I'll say social media, because so much is out there where I wish these people would come to meetings so they would get the facts accurate, or at least go get the meeting minutes and see. But this is the problem. The pebble is put out there, and then the pebble becomes a boulder, and you got to spend so much time breaking the boulder up.
One of the things that came out at the finance committee, which I think everybody heard, was finding out last minute. And that kind of puts the blame on the building committee.
Yeah.
You kind of wonder what happened. Why was something not communicated? Because that seems to be the big question.
That's one of the biggest, the biggest
Concerns that
questions that
people
people have.
Understood.
Is it was like months ago. Why is it now just coming out now?
Okay, understood.
And
And you know,
that has to do with the grants too. That
Can I respond to that, Tina?
yeah, no, please do, Jim.
All right. I was a late member of the building committee. That somebody had resigned, and I volunteered my services for it. There was numerous conversations at building committee meetings about the fact that the project was going to be above budget, and what do we do about it? So the fact that it was all hidden is nonsense. All you got to do is look at the minutes or come to the meetings and listen to what is discussed. Get away from social media, and as Tina said, talk to the people who might know the answers.
Yeah.
Well, I said it earlier this morning. You don't ask the Easter Bunny what's for Christmas.
Hey, I like that.
It's true, though.
Yeah, no, and you know, should we have? Quite possibly, but you know, I don't know. I think this whole thing it just went out of control. I think the conversations at our initial Board of Finance meetings, they were tense, they were intense, but it's done. At the end of the day, my job is to get the seniors back into some sense of normalcy. And that's my goal. You know, I can rehash everything that's happened in the past 3 months. I really don't care to.
A lot of these questions, they've been answered.
numerous times.
Well, no, today even. Like, for example, can we see the language in the grant that would prevent the community from using the building? That's this.
And I believe at that time, they just thought of it only as a senior center because
yeah.
It was the legislatures back then that made the decision that they seen that you guys were packed.
Yes.
So decided they didn't even think of a community center.
Now, let's say a community center was approved, and now all of a sudden we're at $20 million. Where do we go with this?
It'd be a
Right.
bomb going off in town. But let me just, many years ago, there was some conversation and some work being done, discussion on School Street site. Okay, that was looked at way back then for a senior / community center. And it seemed to be looked at favorably, but it was shot down because it was said, and it was the way it was presented to us. And I believe it was Carl Fontenot was the town planner at the time. They wanted that property to go back on the tax roll. And because of where it was located, it really couldn't accommodate a building of that type.
Apparently, it couldn't accommodate a building period because it was supposedly there was too much contamination.
Right.
From what I understand.
So,
That was the theory.
right. So a community center slash senior center would have cost millions and millions and millions more. Not to mention, I mean, if you're looking at a 30,000 square foot building, where the heck would we have put it? And I'm encouraging those who really feel strongly about a community. I'm not opposed to a community center. Start the ball rolling. Start doing some of the work for it. Find out where there may be grant opportunities or where the state might be able to help start providing that.
A location.
A location.
It's not easy. finding
Start
a
the work.
location.
I mean, it has been a lot of work to do this. And if somebody in the community feels strongly that we need a community center,
Case in point, you don't need to be either an elected official or a town employee to actually start this project.
No, you get it.
And I think some people may have that perception because they feel that they're not, in a certain position where they can get what they need to complete this project.
They can certainly go talk to people in certain positions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've seen committees formed around certain things
Right.
that they want to do. So
Right.
it can happen.
It can.
How was the land acquired for the new senior center?
That piece of property, and I'm smiling. I'm sorry, I've got my mask on, but I'm smiling. That piece, because boy, oh boy, disclosure, Paul Bricky is my cousin because somehow
I didn't even know that.
got tossed out into all of this hoopla. The Griswold Housing Authority transferred that property over to the town. And I think
At no cost.
at no cost.
At no cost.
Okay, because I think the Housing Authority and Paul Bricky saw the value of putting that senior center in the middle of elderly housing. And he still continues to work on that additional
so
housing
Paul
project.
donated that property.
He didn't
to
donate it. No.
all right.
Transferred.
At no cost.
All right, we'll correct one other, answer this question. I believe that that property that the housing center on was originally town property.
was
and
originally-
transferred to the housing authority.
To the housing
So all that
authority.
was happening there was the town was getting back access to property that they already had owned.
Yes. Yes. So that's how that all happened. And I know that there were some questions about deeds. And I am smiling because the deeds were available. Copies of the deeds were available. It's just that nobody really
Go look them up in the town clerk's office.
yeah, it's there. No secrets. No
Yeah.
secrets.
This is another thing too. You have to go through attorneys. It's not like you can just say, "Hey, Mike, I want to give you some property," and
well,
there's a lot of attorney involvement in that. Same thing with the bonding. It has to go through a process. You can't just say, "We want money," and it's given to you. You have to go through a process. You have to meet certain requirements.
And we did have
and-
attorney representation throughout this whole process, so that all of our guidance and all of our answers and approvals went through an attorney. And it wasn't town's attorney. It was an attorney that was hired for the project. So we weren't just, randomly making decisions on our own.
All right, next question. This came in via instant messenger. Todd Babbitt was present at every senior center committee meeting. He also submitted the application for the building permit to the building department. Can we get some clarification on that? Basically, because this person says, I would hardly say that Todd had no involvement with the project.
I'm not going to say he didn't have no involvement, but ultimately,
in the beginning, he was
in
the
the
chair.
he was the chair in the beginning.
Now remember, this goes back years.
And don't forget,
He's been
the first selectman,
4 years.
the first selectman of the town, any first selectman, not just Todd Babbitt, is automatically a member of every committee ex officio. So if he wants to know what's going on in his town, he will be at meetings. He goes to planning and zoning. Sometimes he'll go to Board of Ed. He goes to Board of Finance when necessary. Tonight he will be at the Health and Safety, Public Health and Safety Committee.
He comes to the Capital Improvement Committee meeting.
Yes, capital improvement. So it's not just the building committee that he chooses to attend.
All right, I'm trying to sift through questions because a lot of them were answered throughout our conversation as well.
Well, can I just say, I'm the tech person, and yeah, I have my own Facebook page. I do the senior center Facebook page. I'm on Grizzle now. I don't comment because half of the stuff is just people just saying they don't know. They just come up with their own explanation. It's like we were talking the telephone game. I could tell you something, Mike, and then you're gonna,
Sure.
spread it, and it's gonna change by the time.
Yeah, that's the whole theory of going into a movie theater, starting on one side, whispering something, and tell them to send it right on down. It's totally different by the time it gets to the end.
People add things, they change things, they hear what they want to hear.
But I'm going to say this because some of this is personal and some of this has become political. And who gets caught in the middle? The seniors. So shame on them.
Here's a quote that was sent to me from the all-knowing Norwich Bulletin.
Okay.
Sorry. Quote is, the new Grizzle Senior Center Community Wellness Center. First of all, why was the name changed if we can't use it as a community center? Was approved in May 2019. 7.5 million was bonded, but it was brought to the attention of the Board of Finance in January that the project was now over budget plans, and the budget or the plans were only 60% drawn when the contract was signed. Now that is per the Norwich Bulletin. Why was the project put out to the voters at referendum if the plans weren't even finished yet?
Okay, the plans were 70% finished. Working with the with Rob Perrette, working with the attorney. That's pretty standard in the industry. Okay, and then moving forward.
But can you see how a resident would say, well, why
well,
isn't
of
it all?
course. And you know why? Because what Norwich Bulletin put $1.5 million out there.
Yeah.
I don't know where they came up with that money. And when I saw the reporter, I asked him, I said, where did you come up with 1.5 million? I know where he came up with that money, with that amount. But that's water under the bridge. And that's why I'm saying some of this has become personal and some of this has become political. I'm done with it. Let's just get the referendum over. Let's get these poor people out of their four walls. We're all looking at each other. How did we all get here today? We drove here today. What we're seeing, the decline in our senior population, if I see one more person pass away before they've seen this building built, it has, and Lisa, you can say it's been horrific. The cognitive decline with many, many, many of our seniors is concerning. The mental health, this isn't good. So we can hash and ask and debate and accuse and point fingers all that we want. At the end of the day, I have one goal and one goal only. And one of these days, the naysayers, they're either going to have a parent or a grandparent, maybe 40 years down the road, they're going to need something that senior center has to offer.
What was the average number of users in 2019 and 2020 of the current Grizzle Senior Center? And again, from the Norwich Bulletin, the number of visitors in 2014 was more than 13,900, quoting yourself back in 2015 in the Norwich Bulletin. The all-knowing, all-seeing benevolent.
Well, I can speak because at the end of the year, I tally. We have a sign-in book that everybody, all the seniors sign in, the members. So I tally it monthly and then yearly. And we have it was 13,000 up to 15,000 a year. And that's just our seniors. That's not, the social service people that come in. We have homeless people that just come in. there's a lot of people that don't sign that book.
But I think what they're getting at is, what are we doing now? That's the way.
Is the senior center open right now for
No,
seniors
but
to come
when,
in?
no, but I'll tell you, we just went on a statewide senior center conference call last week, and many of the senior centers across the state are not open. The ones that are open are those like Groton, where they can socially distance. And the Connecticut State Department of Health has said they do not recommend or they do not support daily cafe gatherings. We can't socially distance in there. If you looked at the back room, it's floor to ceiling donated furniture for the new senior center. The middle of the senior center currently is nothing but, it's a grocery store for the people that are coming in to say, you know, either the food from St. Mary's, people coming in, I have no food, because we're still doing all of that. But even if we didn't have that, you can't safely social distance. It's not going to happen. But the services never stopped. The QMB program, the Medicare Savings Program, food stamps, those things were all problematic with the government shutdowns because there were no offices, there were no agencies open. So the seniors are getting letters saying, oh, my Medicare savings plan, it's running out. What am I going to do? We had to fix those things. There was a lot of we have more activity going on administratively right now than we've had in the past.
Well, and I think that your numbers are probably low because as many people such as myself, I pop in there frequently. I never think about signing the register.
We haven't opened it since the day we closed.
No.
Since
but-
March 17th, we have not had anybody sign in.
No, but I'm saying prior to that, I'm
Right.
saying that
Oh,
your law
Mhm.
is probably not truly representative of the number of
No.
people that come in there.
No.
Because a lot of people just don't sign.
Lyme and East Lyme right now are having initial conversations of they're out of space. They're looking at either expanding or some type of growth. We are not unique. This is not something we made up and we decided we want a new senior center. That's not what this is about. It's about quilters, 15 of them in a back room with extension cords for their sewing machines all over the floor. And one of our members tripping over it, falling on the floor, and I'm running across the parking lot to American Ambulance to get assistance. It's not safe. It's not appropriate. It's not fair.
Would you say this is a case of being proactive versus reactive?
In terms of what?
The money spent.
Well, you have to look at cost versus benefit. And that's the lens.
So says the 80-year-old senior.
Yeah, no. That's the lens that I look through.
Hey.
What are you going to do to provide? We had a phone call this morning. I'm not even going to say the town, from another town very nearby us who provides little to no services for their seniors. This poor person was looking for transportation to a critical medical appointment. We offer these services, and thank God that we do. You know, we do the dial-a-ride program, the transportation. There isn't, we call ourselves one-stop shopping, Lisa.
Vaccine van?
And if I don't have the answer or Lisa doesn't have the answer, we will
We'll
darn
find
well
the
find it
answer.
or the service that's needed. You
I
know,
get calls from time to time about, you know, for some reason they ask me, like I'm supposed to know, you know, about different things. And then what do? I call you. And what do you tell me? Tell them to call me.
absolutely.
That's the only thing you've ever said. Tell them to call me.
Absolutely.
When I needed heat myself personally, you said, come down and see me.
Mhm.
That was
We
6
have
years
never,
ago.
We have never turned down.
And I never ever let anybody, including myself, forget that.
Well,
And I'm not even a senior.
I know. The other thing too,
Well, yeah, but I don't forget where I came from.
I
so.
don't know if anybody knew this, but we took on the task of vaccinations.
Vaccine van.
We did that. We registered over 220 when it started 75 and over. We were able to register and assist in getting over 220 people appointments. Then we brought the van to town last week. We worked on helping them get their appointments filled. Less than 24 hours, we had over 250 appointments that we were able to book for the mobile van up at the school.
And I will say on that, because people said that they couldn't get through.
Right.
Well, we have 4 lines. We have 3. And then we have a fax machine, and people
There
were
was a
saying,
comment that I
Mhm.
saw on social media, something about they tried to call, but they couldn't leave a message because it was
Yep,
only a fax
fax
line.
if they stayed on, it would go to voicemail unless the voicemail was full. But we were on, there's 3 of us, and we were constantly on that phone right straight through. I mean, you would hang up, it would be ringing.
And
So
then
it was hard for people, and they kept calling back. They kept
after
calling back.
hours, it kicks over to the fax machine. Then what did I do? I put my cell phone number out there. I said, we can't have 5 cell phone numbers going out there. My phone, honest to God, rang until 11:30 that night, people scheduling appointments, and it started at 5 o'clock the next morning. So we're proud of that. Vaccinations were important, and we're still continuing to do it.
So let me go something a little bit in reverse. There was a member of, and I'm going to say the senior community, that was talking about the school being a quote unquote Taj Mahal, and
The school or the senior center?
the school
Yeah.
was a Taj Mahal. Then of course residents came to the aid of that and said, what is it about the school that isn't being used, or what is it about the school that is not a necessary part of the building? So now the question to you is there a part of the senior center building that is not necessary? Kind of like I'm just kind of flipping it around a
I
little bit.
understand.
Okay. If you could speak to that.
Okay. We have one private conference room, small, very small, so that when people come in and they want to talk about their taxes, they want to talk about their finances, they want to talk about something privately, they don't have to be in the middle of hoopla anymore. We have administrative offices. We have one room for line dancing so that we don't have to cram 30 people in a back room where they're tripping over the piano. That room will also accommodate aerobics, Tai Chi. We're going to institute yoga, meditation. Oh, and that's where the senior community wellness comes in. It's senior community wellness. Okay. The main room, our meals are going to increase tremendously because now we are in the heart of elderly housing. So those people are now going to be coming in for daily cafe meals. When we're already serving between 20 and 30 a day, that's going to take up a big part of that main room. Bingo days, it's not unusual that we would have between 50 and 70 people. So that would also be in that main room. We have a medical room. We have a tiny little cubby with a washer and a dryer because seniors do have accidents. So we're able to attend to those things in a much more professional way now. We have one big room where quilting, Swedish weaving, art class, cards, pool, that will all take place in another room. We now have a library where people can go and sit. We can have our Alzheimer's support groups in that library, a nice, quiet, peaceful space. And more people will be able to come to those support meetings because the loved one that they're caring for, they'll be able to bring them with them, and we will have an appropriate space for them to sit and have some type of activity while their caretaker is in a support group. That's about it.
But versus the school has all technology. We don't have so much technology in the new senior center.
Well,
that-
each can have different needs. I think
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Yeah, I think the question was more like, is the senior center built out too much?
No, when we plan this, and this is what you have to do, and this is what your committees are formed for. You have to look. That current building right now is 40 years old. You have to project.
The current senior center.
Correct. You have to look ahead so that, and you have to literally plan for 30 to 40 years out. You have to look at projections. You have to talk to a lot of people. You have to look at age groups, growth rates. There's a lot that you have to plan for, and you don't want to build with shoddy materials or less than. You want things that are going to be durable and that are going to hold up for 30 years. And somebody made the comment at one of the meetings. I forget who it was, but I literally had to turn my head and say, what? Somebody questioned me at one of the recent hearings. about the need for automatic door openers. And I had to stop and think, are you kidding me? Do you want to come and stand there and hold the door on a daily basis for those people coming in with walkers and wheelchairs? It's a senior center, for Pete's sake.
I don't
Why
understand.
would you question automatic door openers?
And that's an ADA requirement.
Every department
Indeed.
store, every food market, every place you go in has automatic doors for people who can't get in. It's part of the whole handicap thing.
It's laughable.
That was pretty funny.
I think this is about the last question that I have, and what I'm going to
Sure.
do as well is the questions that were emailed to me.
Mhm.
I'm going to send them to you,
Of course.
so you can contact these people if I didn't get a chance to, because I want people to be able to get their answers and I know you do too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
But I'll send them to you via email, so you have them all.
Email is fine, but I will not answer anything on social media. I refuse. So
No, I have email addresses.
good.
Okay, I'll make sure that
I'm
you get
fine
those.
with that.
How did a project that was voted on 11/29/16 for the initial funding of the plans for the building approved? The vote was 471 to 79. Go from an estimated 2 to 3 million to over $8 million. Now, the quote from the Hartford Current: Grizzle Public Works Director Todd Babbitt said the town will be seeking funds from 3 different sources for the actual construction costs, which are estimated at between 2 and 3 million.
2 and 3 million for what?
That was
There's
for
a
the
question.
infrastructure.
That was the
the infrastructure,
think-
not for
yeah.
the building.
Yeah, I absolutely am not.
Mhm.
I'm not speaking to infrastructure. That's not.
Well, I think there's
That
a
wasn't even the infrastructure. That wasn't $2 or $3 million.
I know. I don't know where that figure came from. And
Gas project was close to 2 million, right, Jim?
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
yeah,
Okay.
and I
The gas
can't.
project.
I'm not even
That was
touching
a
that
little
because I have
confusing.
no knowledge of that whatsoever.
That was
Okay.
2 million.
I'm
I
pretty
know where
sure
that
that
number
was-
came
and it was a quote actually, apparently, according to the Hartford Current, that Todd Babbitt gave. So maybe we can forward
Well,
that to him.
The
so-
Norwich Bulletin said it was 1.5 million. I mean,
That's why I said the all-knowing, altruistic newspaper.
yeah,
And you have to read the whole article. You can't.
You can't pick what you want out of it.
Exactly.
yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about? I think nobody asked any questions in the group. Thank you very much to the people that emailed questions in
Yes, thank you.
and sent by private messenger or whatever. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about? The referendum is May 5th.
Yes, it
It's
is.
at Grizzle High School,
At the high school.
6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Correct.
at the gymnasium.
Mhm.
Right?
I believe so.
I thought it was a cafeteria, but it said gymnasium.
I
in
believe
there,
it's the gymnasium. I may be wrong, but
which is
you
a
know, stay tuned.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because the school will be closed
Yeah,
for.
and that's a good thing too. Yeah.
Can you explain what the vote is? What are we voting on? So people are aware of it.
Shall the town appropriate, or are they voting yes or no to appropriating $760,000 for the completion
Of the
of
senior center.
And where's
of
it
the
coming
new
from?
From
Coming-
the surplus.
surplus?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
no cost to the taxpayer.
Correct.
There's
That's
no tax increase.
No
Correct.
tax increase on this referendum.
Correct.
It's basically coming out of our funds.
And I think the reason why there's even a referendum, I think because Mr. Davis said that he wasn't going to okay or have the Board of Finance okay this amount of money without having the residents decide.
That's understandable.
And yep, I respect that. I respect that.
So anything else you want to add, Lisa? No.
I just want to add that I would think that, as with the school, it's a beautiful school and the town is very I'm trying to think of the word.
We're proud of our school
yeah,
campus.
should be proud of our school
Mhm.
campus. And I look at the same thing with the senior center, that the town people should be happy that a beautiful building is coming into town. It serves pretty much everybody, not just seniors. It does serve everybody. And people want growth then they should want beautiful stuff for their town, and it draws people to our town.
See, that's another thing. That's a really good point that you
Yes,
put
it
that,
is.
because when people look at a town to move to, especially in maybe even younger than us,
Mhm.
they look at things that amenities like a senior center that will bring people. What will
They
happen
will.
then? Well, people will buy more houses. Then what
Mhm,
happens? More tax money comes in.
Yeah.
So this is kind of why I asked, do you think people are being more, or their thoughts on this at this point are being more proactive than reactive, or reactive than proactive?
More reactive. I mean, remember this too. We've got Oak Tree, the new housing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They just finished phase
Very
one. They're
nice.
going to be going into phase two. There are more services that are going to be required. With the housing authority, if additional housing goes up there, that's going to be more needs for the senior community. The numbers are only going to increase. As much as we'd like to say they're not going to, there's no way around it. The need and the growth will continue, and we have to do our best to do the right thing.
All right, I'm going to read it. And since do you have some extra time?
Sure.
Okay. This was sent by.
Oh no, I'm not the boss.
This isn't about personal feelings. It's about how evidence can be produced that contradicts how little Todd was involved. It's not about Todd and Tina being married. The leader of the town and finance director didn't bring the overrun forward when they were extremely involved. Just want to make sure I'm reading that right. Todd's signature was on the building permit that he submitted in person October of 2019, and
Yeah.
I have it.
So what does that mean?
I don't know. I'm just reading it.
So Todd's signature was on it.
Sure.
He's the town leader, probably should have been the one to sign. I don't think I should have signed it. I don't think Eric should have signed it. And I don't think the building chair should have signed it. But I mean, and maybe he wanted to make sure that, I have no idea. I don't see the significance of that.
Okay.
I mean,
Like I said, I'm just reading the.
It's no difference than any other private business. You don't let the small guy sign the contract. It's always done at a higher level of management. Todd is the level of management in his
Yeah,
town.
I mean, to
his
think-
responsibility is to sign that.
I think.
Okay, I don't understand.
No,
I'm just.
I'm just saying.
I think the point that's trying to be made is, his involvement. Well,
It has to.
yeah, I don't get the
But
significance.
there's two other selectmen involved with him.
Correct.
There's three of them. It's not just him.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, he can't do things.
But
just on
again,
his own.
that's we're just digging through the weeds here.
Well, I know, but that's unfortunately people are in the weeds.
Yeah, well, you know what? Not me.
I know you're not. Ed.
Not me. I've got.
How you put up with all the crap is beyond me. Because
She's the hottest working woman.
I would be.
I know.
I would
let me
be
tell you.
very.
Well, I appreciate it, but I just I choose not to go down the rabbit hole, as we call it. I could get very angry. I could take offense. I could be hurt. I'm not. I have so many more important things to do, and getting this project through the best way that we can is my top goal. And I'm not going to get in the weeds. I refuse.
Now, I had a different interpretation of that thing than what everybody else here is taking, because I interpreted that comment as being in support of Todd and Tina, as opposed to not being in support of them. Now, maybe I misunderstood the.
You
the
may be,
intention
and if
of-
that's the case, then I apologize. But
I just read it as it was.
Yeah, and so I'm just saying.
I think the person was saying also too, it has nothing to do with personal feelings.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with.
it's kind of like
which it doesn't.
business.
She's
is
right.
business.
And that's why
You're
I-
right, sorry.
that's why
Yeah.
I said what I said.
Okay. Paul, any parting comments?
No.
Jim?
No, I
Anything
said
else?
enough.
Lisa? Anything else you'd like to talk about?
No, I don't.
Farm to families food distribution
Tomorrow.
tomorrow. 10:30?
10:30, 12:30.
10:30
we
to
run out.
12:30 in
Towards
front
the
of the
town
town
hall.
hall. Yep. Yep. And it's going to be a beautiful day.
Yep.
If you have a need, or anybody in the community has a need, or if they know of a neighbor or a family member, who needs a box of food, please come down.
Well, it's like I told my dad about it.
Good.
And he said to me, he goes, well, can I give it to somebody else who is in more need than I am? And I said, yes, you can
Of course.
do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
So, and he wasn't even aware of it. So,
Yeah.
which
So,
is good.
yeah, spread the word.
He's not on social media at all. So, that's it. That's
Okay,
it. I guess the only thing that I do want to say is that if anybody has any questions, if you're listening to this broadcast after it happened, and maybe it's Saturday morning and you're listening to this right now, whatever you do, this is just my suggestion personally. Don't get your influence from social media.
Correct.
Don't, because that right there will cause more problems. And I know, Paul, you've seen it, Jim, you've seen it. We've all seen it. When it comes to these things right here, you have every right, whether you're against it or you're for it. That's your own personal opinion. It's not my job to change your opinion or any of us here at SNSN. However, don't form your opinion based on
No.
what the masses are saying on social media. Listen to the people that are answering the questions that are involved with the process. That's the only suggestion I can make.
Well,
Whether it's yes or no.
When I was looking at the whole Wyndham situation, and they've had to go back to their Board of Finance a couple of times, and I'm sure this has been a really, really tough process on their community too. But I started reading through some of the comments and the comments and the comments and the postings on one of their pages, and it was like, it was so different. And I felt so sad. There was so much positivity. Even though they've run into some hurdles. And I thought, gee, I only wish. I don't know. I know that we have a lot of support for this. We've received a lot of phone calls. You're meeting people in the stores. I'm meeting people in the stores. Joanne met some people over the weekend. There is a lot of community support, and we greatly appreciate that. But there are just some dark clouds over this, and it's like, where does this come from?
Well, my opinion is where it's come from. I think it's come from the finance board meetings where people have tuned into those meetings and heard a lot of the negativity that went on during those meetings. I felt, and I've commented on this, I thought there was a lack of communications to the finance board. That was the whole thing that I got out of it. And that's what kind of like said, what the hell happened? I don't blame any of you guys at all.
But
whatsoever.
Once discussions started, it seemed like for them to even, and I don't want to,
I know you don't.
But the thing, so much misinformation was put out and so much, even the way that the meetings were heard, some of it could be.
You couldn't even hear half
one-sided. Yeah.
You could hear, and then other parts you couldn't hear. And I'm glad it's over.
Yeah.
I just want to put that behind us, move forward. And
well, they've come with a decision, and I think it's a good decision. So let's hopefully.
And I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. But
I think the negativity was out there long before anything went to the finance board.
Really?
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, there were people when we first went to referendum on the senior center. There were people putting some pretty not so nice stuff out there on trying to sway people and their vote. And that's as far as I'm going to go with that. But it goes way back where people were really trying to shoot bullets into this project. And here we are. There's going to be a new senior center. Irregardless, there's going to be a new senior center, and life will go on. And maybe at that point, we will no longer be the flavor of the day or the month or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
I like mocha chip.
We'll keep it in mind.
Rum raisin. All right. So whether you are for or whether you are against what is happening with the cost overruns and the referendum, it is your responsibility, Town of Griswold, to vote. That's the best thing you can do. Not participating in the hoopla in social media. That doesn't do anybody any good. And the town needs your engagement You're residents of the town. They need you to participate, to say exactly what it is you want and what you don't want. If you do not participate in the process, then you have absolutely zero right to complain. Vote yes, vote no. It doesn't matter to me what you vote. I know what I'm going to vote. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what I'm going to vote because it's not your business. Just like Jim or Paul or whatever. But get out there and vote, participate in the process. And here's one thing that I will do is that if they don't know how to get in touch with you, send me the questions or whatever. I will certainly forward them to Tina and to Lisa and to Joanne to get answers back to you.
Well, they can always email griswoldseniors@yahoo.com.
There's my tech. There's my tech.
Grizzleseniors@yahoo.com. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm going to type that in here right now. So that way, Grizzle
Seniors, plural.
I can't type for anything.
Get some senior to type it in.
Senior, yeah, they might do it. At Yahoo.
Yahoo.com.
Yahoo.
And I just want to say, because people,
There we go.
seniors, they think, 80, 90-year-olds. Our senior center, it's 55 and older and people with disabilities. So if somebody has a disability, they don't have to be 55. We don't throw anybody out. We accept everybody.
You mean I can join?
You can join. And
you're only 46.
Coming up on 47.
Yeah, so there's a stipulation. Seniors, they think people just sit around, I guess, in their chairs, but it's a very active senior center, and we have over 400, about close to 500 members. So
Thank you very much for coming down.
Thank you
And
for having
anytime.
us, all of you. It was nice to see all of you again.
We're also going to go ahead and make sure we schedule a time before the referendum.
Yes.
And give the seniors their chance to say what they want to say, because they have
Absolutely.
every right to do so.
Yep.
Because most of the seniors are not on social media.
No.
See, I look at it
You know?
from the administrative point and what we're dealing with, what we're seeing, what we have seen happen in the past year. You know what's really going to be sad is when we're all able to gather again, and they're going to find out that the person who sat with them at lunch isn't going to come back. That's going to be the saddest part, because believe me, we've lost a lot of members. And I do not look forward to that. There's going to be it's going to be a lot of sadness. So,
Well,
but on a bright note, I
On a
know
bright
you
note.
said it's nobody's business who's voting what, but I'm going to say this right now. I'm voting yes.
great. Now I'm going to get slammed for getting out propaganda. Like, that's a big surprise, Tina, really.
I just had to put it out
I
there.
know. All right. You can send your questions to me if you want to, or griswoldseniors@yahoo.com. Either way, the senior staff management will get your questions and answer them for you, because they want you to be as knowledgeable and informed as possible. in
Properly
making-
informed.
Properly. That's perfect. Properly informed. That's
Yes,
it.
sir.
All right. All right, Paul, thank you very much. Jim, thank you for your
you, Paul.
participation as
Thank
always.
you. Thank you all.
And Austin, you too, buddy. He's over there. All right. All right. Tomorrow we'll be back once again Tuesday morning. It's Psychic Tuesday. We'll be doing that for you tomorrow morning at 9:00. It's yeah.
Bye.
Bye. See you guys later. It's SNSN. Have a good day, everyone.
The flagship for Griswold High School sports, and your home for local news and weather, broadcasting from Main Street in the borough of Jewett City. The streaming news and sports network, SNSN.